is a way out of that. Trust me. There is hope. Even if in that moment you find that you're not, it all seems hopeless and there is no hope. Trust me. If I was going to kill myself, there is hope, honey. I'm right here. So I literally just started as a makeup artist, had a bunch of faith in myself, and every affirmation and accomplishment that I did led to me dreaming bigger and bigger, and everything just turned into what it became today, which is very weird because in retrospect, when I was in middle school, my middle school teacher, I was in a journalism class. At that time, I was not out of the closet yet. This was 7th grade. I came out in 8th grade. She looked at me and she was like, you have something about you. She's like, I believe you're like a talk show host, something in you. And mind you, at that time, I was still a little in my shell, not as outgoing as I am today because I was still in the closet. And then 8th grade came about, and then I got into being more and more myself. So maybe she predicted the future. I don't know. But here I am today. So I'm a big old jack of all trades. That's why in my first episode, I'm like, I'm a makeup artist, talk show host, radio personality, and I also paint. I sell paintings here in Dallas. I say, you know, I would be lying if I said that it's just super easy. You have to remember what you've learned. You have to remember what you've learned. If that's spiritual, or say you've gone to a counselor that's helping you, you have to really remember what you've learned. For me, what helps me a lot is to know that there is an enemy. I call it the enemy, the darkness. All that is not of God, and what I've learned in my spiritual, journey. So if I have anything cross my mind that is overwhelming me, or it's something negative, I just don't give it the power. And it works. If you just don't give it the power, think of your mind as a TV. Just change the channel if you don't like what you're watching. And then you just move on and don't give it the power. And we control our thoughts. So we choose to feel what we feel. If we're depressed and all that stuff, sure, granted, there's people who are chemically imbalanced. That's a different thing. But if you find yourself falling into something, change the channel in your mind and just stay happy, because that's what God wants us to be. He wants us to be happy. He didn't put us here to feel like crap for the rest of our lives. And that's what helps me, just to realize and remember what I've learned. And you just go about your day, and sure enough, you'll get through the day. We've gotten this far. All of us have gone this far through the grace of something. And for me, that's God. So it helps me stay upbeat. I think the best advice I could give somebody who's wanting to come out of the closet is to take the time to meditate and figure out, do you want to live your life for someone else, or do you want to live your own life? You have to one day wake up and realize, this is my life, the only life I'm going to live. So I have to walk in my own truth. And you have to have faith that everything's going to work out for the better. If people reject you, you have to realize that rejection is God's redirection, and another door will open, a door full of love, because God is all love. So when you feel like something, if you're not coming out because you're scared, just know that the door that's open, that will open for you, if you believe in something better, is going to be full of so many great surprises and wonderful things. So say somebody comes out and their parents reject them, honey, God will never reject you. So everything will get better and better. Yes, my mom is a huge influence in my life. My mom, growing up, she was actually a Tina Turner impersonator in the 80s. So I grew up with a very open-minded mom, and she was a model too. My dad is from Mexico. He's like straight up Mexican. But my mom was always very loving, very accepting. When I came out of the closet, she actually didn't suspect that I was gay, which is weird because I was born with so much sugar in my tank, like so much. And she's very accepting. We have a great relationship. I can tell her all my thoughts, and she's a great mentor, advice giver, very loving. She's taught me a lot about vitamins. So yeah, I love my mom. She's cool. We have to remember that negative feedback, bad comments, haters, all of that, do not let that sink into your spirit, because it's not about you, it's about them. Hatred is a reflection of what somebody feels about themselves. So if you can realize that if someone is spewing out reason about you, it's about them. What they're writing, oh, you're so fat, you're so ugly. That's their own insecurity manifesting out through the internet, or them spewing it out of their mouth. So whenever you hear a hater, just laugh at it, because really they're telling you exactly how they feel about themselves. So they think they're attacking you when really it's just exposing how they feel about themselves. So be compassionate towards them. Be the bigger person and just move on, and let words just roll off your back, because at the end of the day, words are just sounds. Are you going to let a sound ruin the rest of your day? No. Just let it go and move on. I consider myself more spiritual, a spiritual Christian. Let's call it that. I was raised Catholic. You're told to believe since you're a kid that you're supposed to believe in God. Well, when I was in high school, my sophomore year of high school, I fell into my very first depression. I was always a very upbeat and happy person. And that depression led me to seeing many doctors and all kinds of stuff. They all wanted to prescribe me pills, but I rejected all the pills. I didn't want to be on anything. And after a year of all that turmoil, one day I got home and there was this book on my bed, which I talk about on my show, and it's called Stop Worrying and Start Living. And the book mentions, great ways of thinking. It brings up God. The book literally talked to me in such a way that it led me to the Bible, and I developed my own relationship with God. And I truly believe God does love everybody. And I shared this testimony with people that one day I was here in downtown Dallas walking around, and I started doubting all this greatness that I was putting in my head, all the greatness of God. And I was like, excuse my language, this shit ain't real. A huge sticker says, trust me. And that talked to me in such a supernatural way. It just seemed so real, because what is the coincidence of me doubting, I'm about to slam into a pole, and then the thing says, trust me. It was like, that was God. Everything since then, since that little incident, everything has just come true. Praying really does work. I mean, like I said about how my career all came to be, it was just living on a prayer, like that Bon Jovi song, I'm living on a prayer. I didn't go to college for these things. It was just a matter of believing. And they say in the Bible, when you ask and you believe, you will receive. So I truly believe God does love everybody. It's just a matter of tapping into that and letting all those blessings come down upon you. God is like the source of truth and wisdom. And so many of us look for validation in things that aren't validating, like clothes or what you drive or who you know. But when you have God, God validates you, and none of these other extras matter. They just become blessings that make life a little more fun. So yeah, God is real. I think everyone should tap into God, whether it's Jesus or some other God, because I believe maybe they're all the same in some way, maybe it's the same one, just in different ways, and he spread himself out. Who knows? But for me, I'm the Christian spiritual believer in the Jesus Christ Holy Trinity, that God. So it worked for me. It could work for anybody else, because mind you, I was so depressed that sophomore year that one day I came home, the day that I found that book, and that day I actually thought about maybe ending my life. That's how dark it was. And if the doctors couldn't get me out of that, and that got me out of all that shit with no medicine and stuff, finding God, reading, making a relationship with him, and letting all that wisdom change my mindset, God is super powerful, way powerful. So when I come across people who are like, I want to kill myself, I'm depressed, they're in such a dark headspace, there is a way out of that. Trust me, there is hope. Even if in that moment you find that you're not, it all seems hopeless and there is no hope, trust me, if I was gonna kill myself, there is hope, honey. I'm right here today. So I got into makeup because after I graduated from high school, I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I went to an arts magnet here in Dallas, Booker T, Washington, and that's what I went. That was my little major there. I was focusing on visual arts. So after high school, I was like, well, I know how to draw, and I like doing makeup. I'll get into makeup. So one day I'm driving around the city, and I run into this makeup school that was in Oak Cliff, and I was like, let's stop there. So me and my mom stopped. We go in there. I love the people. We hit it off. I was like, I'm going to enroll in here. So I enrolled into a makeup class, and they taught me the basics of makeup, the hygiene aspect and all that. And so I ended up, focusing on becoming a makeup artist just because I like to draw. And I was like, well, I'm going to draw on people's faces. Plus, I like makeup. And as for my favorite makeup brand, I would have to say my favorite is Mary Kay. I know so many people are like, what the hell? You like Mary Kay? 90% of the stuff I put on my face is Mary Kay. It doesn't break me out. I've tried out all the other brands on myself, and a lot of them break me out foundation-wise. Now, I do like the eyeshadows and all that other stuff from everybody, but foundation-wise, I love my Mary Kay. And plus, they have wonderful lipsticks, eyeshadows, and all that good stuff. So Mary Kay, Mary Kay, Mary Kay. No, it's not just for old ladies. It is for everybody. Yes. All right, folks, a little bit about my show. Honey, my show is a bunch of shits, shenanigans, and random crap to talk about. I have many stories. Growing up, people would tell me, you're a good storyteller. And I'm like, well, thank you. So really, my show is just about anything that I feel like talking about. It is generally a random talk show, story time, shenanigans, tune in. You never know what I'm going to talk about or who might show up, and tune in for a surprise. Yes. Am I allowed to curse, first of all, because I have a sailor's mouth?
Yes, you are perfectly fine cursing.
I want to say my nice thing about mymentorrocks.org is if you're tired of feeling like shit and you want to be the shit, check out mymentorrocks.org. Or you could switch that around. If you want to be the shit because you're tired of feeling like shit, check out mymentorrocks.org.